The other main one that a lot more will have heard of is the Passivhaus. You'll most likely have seen it on Grand Designs. Passivhaus, it's a principle. It's not a design style, it's a set of guides and a principle. And the whole point of it is that you have no traditional method of heating. The only method of heating that you could have was a post-heating element in the mechanical ventilation heat recovery that would actually add a little bit of heat into the building. So Passivhaus is a standard. It was developed in the early 1990s in Germany, and the first house was certified in 1991. It is the largest growing term of low energy housing. There's been around 30,000 buildings certified and built. And the benefit of the Passivhaus standard and the approach is the excellent thermal performance, the airtightness, and the fact that you have a mechanical ventilation system that's giving you good quality, clean air in the house that's getting changed a lot quicker and a lot more often than in traditional houses. So some of the principles that guide the Passivhaus, again, it's a robust energy performance. So it's all built again on the solar passive design process. So you are still trying to use as much of the free energy that you can. As opposed, or over and above the zero carbon method, there actually is set standards that you must meet if you are going to get the house certified. You have to have below 15 kilowatts for the heating and the cooling. It does take into account you as a user, how you live in the house. So each person will give out a kilowatt of heat. So the detail in the design goes into you, how you use the house, the white goods, the TV that you have, the computers, all these things go into the overall design process to make sure that the house works. You've got maximum energy demand for the house, and there is specific requirements to meet U values. So all we need to know about U values is the higher the number, the poorer performance. Don't go any deeper than that. Passivhaus has set standards that you must get to, and if you don't get to them on each element, you will not get the certification. So 0.15 for walls and floors, and 0.8 for openings. So if you are in the process of looking at windows and doors at the moment, a double glazed window and door unit will be about 1.2 U value. When you have to go to passive, you're down to about 0.8. So you are fixed on triple glaze. So there is always a cost association with trying to get it certified. And remember, all of these are for certification. It's a good approach to try and meet some of these standards, but not actually get it certified. So you're getting the best of the both worlds. Airtightness is a key thing with Passivhaus. So very visual display here. Your building regulations at the moment, if you take all of the holes in the house, all of the construction holes, so not openings, so all the bits between the timbers that fit together, bits of walls, roof, things like that, if you put all of the holes together, it comes out to an A4 size piece of paper. So that in building regulations passes. So if you imagine in your lovely house that you've built, you've effectively just got a window that size that's open all the time, and that complies with our building regulations. When you go to passive, it's a 50p piece. So very visual. There is a lot of buy-in by the designer and every single trade that you get on. So if you imagine your electrician and your plumber that just wants to put holes in your building, you need to chase them round with airtight tape, and you need to have buy-in from everybody. Your architect who's designing it, your contractors, but that can show you how much a difference in a well-built, well-constructed low-energy house to what complies with building regulations. So moving on, some of the benefits, it is the high level of insulation, so you are keeping the heat in, and you are keeping it as hot or as cold as it needs to be. You're using the passive solar gains, the excellent airtightness that I've just shown you, the heat recovery system that's managing the hot, the nice air, clean air in your house. It's taking the hot, warm air from their wet rooms and passing that through a heat exchanger with the cold air and giving you nice warmed air throughout your house. When you do the full calculations for Passivhaus, it's up to 75% reduction in your yearly running costs. So it's a massive difference in what we are building at the moment. Again, some of the negatives to it, there is increased design fees, but there's also an increased cost in the certification. So if you do get it certified, there needs to be calculations done that get sent off to Germany and they get your approval. So there's £2,000 to £3,000 extra on your professional fees that you need to factor in. There is a cost increase, as I mentioned, taking the windows and doors as one example. You're stuck, you have to have triple glazing. So there is a cost. If you add that into all the different elements, there is a cost increase.